Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mo CD Culture Show and Tell. And on this fourth installment of the Kiss Extravaganza, we're going to go into the weirder, for me, era where you could maybe detect that there was some weirdness going on in the band. Because the next few albums, as great as I still loved them, and again, I was being a Kiss fan and knowing what they were, not knowing really about what they were going through behind the scenes, but they're the image of them from my point of view, being out front, just seeing that facade of the band. You don't have any idea that they were going through troubled times at the time. But you were like, okay, they did Dynasty. So, and Dynasty, I really love Dynasty. I mean, when you start first hear I Was Made for Loving You, it's like, is that disco? Because if it's disco, like, but then you got 2000 Man, which is one of my favorite songs. Of course, it's Ace Frehley. Sure Know Something, Dirty Living, and probably my favorite track on the album in many times, in many ways, is Charisma. Then there's Magic Touch. And again, another one of my favorite songs on this album is Hard Times. So it's a toss up sometime between 2000 Man, Charisma, and Hard Times, which are my favorite songs. Because somehow they can exchange top ranking. Then you get X-Ray Eyes and Save Your Love. And again, there's a Hard Times and Save Your Love. That's Ace Frehley. Like, or is it Ace Frehley, Save Your Love? Well, and here's a weird thing about this album, okay? If you were to buy this on cassette or the album version, okay, side one started with Charisma, Magic Touch, Hard Times, X-Ray Eyes, and Save Your Love. That was side one. And side two was I Was Made for Loving You, 2000 Man, Sure Know Something, and Dirty Living. And when I first got this on this CD, I thought that was strange. Why is it not starting with Charisma? Why was not Charisma the very first song? Because starting with Charisma, that's how I remembered it. When you put the cassette in or the album on side one, it started with Charisma. They made I Was Made for Loving You the first track on this album. And that's just it's wrong. It's not the first track. It was never the first track. And they put that the first track because it was the video. It's the one they wanted to push as the main track. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, it's weird for me. And just to let you also know that 2000 Man, that's a Rolling Stones song. I love that song. Yeah, 2000 Man, Charisma, and Hard Times are the three main best songs. So now we're going to get to the next album, which is probably, as much as I love Destroyer as my favorite cover, and being such a comic book fan, especially at that time, because now when this album came out, I'm a comic book fan. I'm into Spider-Man, I'm into Star Wars, I'm into all that kind of stuff. And so we got Unmasked, and I loved the detail of this cover because it's so well drawn, and it still keeps the mystery of who they are. They still have not uncovered what they really look like yet. The mystery is still there. As long as they kept that mystery going, I was hooked. And I really love this album too. I think it's a strong album. A lot of people thought it dipped a little bit, and you can see Trouble. I didn't know that Ace Frehley wasn't barely doing any tracks on these albums. I didn't think that they were outsourcing other guitar players at the time. But you get Is That You, Shandi, Talk to Me, which is my favorite song. And I remember later on because when you're first having crushes on girls and that, you're always looking for those perfect songs to try to express how you feel. And Talk to Me was one of those songs that really expressed my feelings of like the aching you're going through, a longing for this certain girl that you're attracted to, that's not giving you any time of day. And you're like, talk to me, talk to me. All I want is a little conversation, you know? Then you got Naked City, What Makes the World Go Round, Tomorrow, Two Sides of the Coin. Again, it's the Ace Frehley stuff that's the main attraction for these. I love the Ace Frehley stuff. Then you got She's So European, Easy as It Seems, Torpedo Girl, which again is another Ace Frehley masterpiece. I freaking love Torpedo Girl. It's his voice. I loved his voice. And then You're All That I Want, the last song. And again, I think it's a strong album. It doesn't sound that disco-ish to me. Definitely a lot less disco-ish as I mean, there's Shandy. Shandy is I said Shandy, but it's Shandy. And Shandy is the most disco that kind of gets. Well, no, there's Naked City. Yeah, I guess Naked City would be another one that sounds kind of a bit disco-ish. But no, I like it. It's a little less sounding disco than Dynasty. It's still a great album. Now, we're going to come to what I consider a controversial album, and it made me wonder. And at the time, I didn't really like it. At the time, I liked the later part of the album rather than the earlier part of the album, because and I seriously thought it was from a soundtrack since like forever. It's only been in the last maybe 6-7 years that I like watch some documentaries and that, and now I understand it. It's a concept album. They didn't make a movie. I mean, it sounds like it would be from a movie. Everything from it, but no, it's just a concept album. Now, what bothered me about the album is, especially, is Paul Stanley. Paul Stanley going into that high falsetto, and as a kid. And for the longest time, anytime a band or something goes into a high falsetto, going into the oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It sounded too guys. Anytime a guy sounded like a girl back in the day, I don't know, it really turned me off. And Just a Boy was kind of that turn off. And then you got Odyssey, Only You, Under the Rose, and each track starts getting slightly better and slightly better, but it's not until you get to like Dark Light, which is Ace Frehley again, and then A World Without Heroes, which is still a good song. Okay, then The Oath. And then there's Mr. Blackwell, which is awesome. And then they have a fantastic. It's probably it's my favorite instrumental of Kiss. Is Escape from the Island. And then the last track being my favorite track on the whole album. It is definitely the best track on the album. But this really grew on me. It's only in the last 10 years that I really got to appreciate and like this album. But as a young kid there, this was such a weird departure, and that's when yeah, Kiss was starting to wave some red flags of trouble in the horizon. This should have been a big warning to me that Kiss was not, that my favorite era of Kiss was soon to be not my Kiss era anymore. So now you come with the next one, which is for me the last album where they had their makeup and their last great album. This album, I would say, made up for the last three albums I just showed you, because because this is Creatures of the Night, and out of those from Dynasty and Unmasked and The Elder, this made up for all that, for that disco, because there's no disco in this. Oh no, it starts off strong with Creatures of the Night, the title track. Saints and Sinners is awesome. Keep Me Coming, Rock and Roll Hell, Danger, I Love It Loud, I Still Love You, Killer, and War Machine. And there's no Ace Frehley tracks on this. He's not singing. But yet, I mean, again, for the last 3 albums, the main standout tracks are mostly from Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley when he was with Kiss. Now, again, I would get into Ace Frehley's solo career, especially the early years, because I know that's great stuff too, and I don't have any of that, but I will eventually get it. But yeah, Creatures of the Night, solid album, especially I Love It Loud. That is the best track on the album, and it's probably, I think, my brother's favorite track of them. And that, I love the cover. I mean, who's that? Is it, what is he, a fox? Who is that? You know, it's like, it was weird. And then they had Vinnie Vincent after, where he was, what, I don't know what character he was. He had this weird onyx thing on his eyes. Yeah, and that was the marking of the end. As soon as we saw, oh, they made him into a fox. It's a cool makeup job. Cool makeup job. But yeah, after this they took off their makeup. They did lick it up, and I don't have anything of the new stuff. I do want everything from Kiss eventually, but of course, you know me, I had to get the essentials first, and the only essentials for me, the best era, is the makeup era. That's my childhood. That's the greatest memories I have of Kiss. That's when they were the greatest. And so after this album, when they took off their makeup, I was in limbo for a couple of years. I didn't have a favorite band. I couldn't say Kiss was my favorite band anymore because they weren't the same Kiss as they were before. You know, I was in the market for a new band because it's like, yep, my childhood days were over. You know, I was, you know, starting to get more mature. I was turning 10 or 11 years old when this came out. So that concludes this episode of Most CD Culture Show and Tell. There's a little supplemental coming up after this, just a little one, because I don't want to make these episodes all that long. So again, take care, everybody. Be safe. I'll see you on the flip side, and have a good day, evening, night, wherever you may be. Bye.